Hey guys, and welcome back to another Conan Exiles video. Today we are going over 5 more building tips to help improve your buildings in Conan Exiles, with this edition being focused solely upon decoration. Decoration is something I've struggled with for quite a while, so hopefully I can help anyone else who is struggling with some of the tips in this video. This building tips video will include tips on both specific installations and conceptual designs and concepts for decoration. If you're just getting started with Conan Exiles and want to know some of the basic foundations of decoration, you should check out my previous decorating guide, which goes over structuring decorations around a room and other relevant tips. If you're looking for more tips on actual building, feel free to take a look at my previous building tips videos for those. This video will focus on more specific concepts and tips, and if people enjoy it, I might have enough decoration tips for another. So, without further ado, let's get started. Firstly, we're going to start off with installing planters. Planters are great for making a build feel more alive and vibrant, so placing them properly and integrating them into a build is an easy way to improve the quality of said build. Firstly, we'll look at how to install planters against stairs. As you can see, I've placed extra foundations on either side of these Yamatai stairs to hold the planters. This is a really simple design by placing fences on empty sides of the foundation and then selecting your planters and adjusting the height by dropping them down by 2 or 3 increments. That's usually the best sort of area to go, and then you can place them towards the corners of each foundation. You can augment this further by including different styles of planters in the centre of each installation to add some more colour and different flora types. You could add more planters to this design, or even a full ring of planters around the build, but there is such thing as overdoing it with planters, so you've kinda got to feel out where the limit is with each build, and depending on the size of each build, the limit will be different. Next, for sloping wall planters. Here we've got this dummy wall, where we'll use inverted slope sides, ceilings and reverse Yamatai roof pieces to create platforms where we can build planters onto, similar to how we did with the first design. This design works for plenty of different materials and builds, it's not exclusive to Yamatai, and though I don't use it much myself, it's something good to know for when you have a build where this sort of thing can work well. Hanging a brazier from underneath of each planter can help to enhance them even further. Next, for sunken planters. This is something I've had a lot of comments about myself because I use them, some would say, a little too much. Here we're in a fairly simply designed room, and we're going to add some planters by breaking parts of the floor. To do this, you'll need stage pieces from the Debaucheries of Decketo DLC, though you might be able to make it work with something else. This is just how I do it. It's also best to do this on a build with at least one extra foundation below the floor you're stood on, otherwise it can get a bit fiddly. After placing the stage, cover these sides with fences and then place your planters inside at default height to create planters that are visible but sit lower than the floor level. Now I'm going to add some more planters at different levels to augment this build further and see how much they improve this fairly plain and boring interior. Next, appropriate thralls. This is a fairly simple concept that involves dressing your thralls properly for the environment they're in. In this example, I'll show you 3 themed buildings, with 3 different but appropriate thralls outside of each structure. Making your thralls appropriate also includes matching the environment and mood of the build, as you wouldn't necessarily expect to see Vanir soldiers in fur armour down in the desert, nor would you expect to see Turanian soldiers in desert gear in the frozen north. Making your thralls environmentally appropriate is just common sense. You could go as far as only including thralls of certain races for certain builds. For me, that's a bit of extra research, and if you're going for the really realistic approach, it's a good thing to do. However, thralls are thralls are thralls, it doesn't really bother me. Let's take a look at this group of 6 Aquilonian soldiers. In this formation they look battle ready, as I've equipped them all with helmets and armour and put their weapons into their hands. However, simply by disarming them and removing their helmets and then moving them to a slightly different place, it completely changes how they look. Removing a helmet is an easy way to make soldiers look less battle ready and more relaxed, whereas positioning thralls facing each other can make it seem like they're talking to each other. Looking at this camp, I've split the thralls into different areas, whilst also keeping them looking far more relaxed and casual. However, I have kept the captain away from the rest of the thralls, and kept his helmet on, to make it look like he's scanning the horizon and planning their next move and preparing for battle, which is a really easy way to create some implied story, simply through dressing thralls appropriately and placing them in specific ways. Let's look over at my last build on this channel, the courthouse near the Dryfalls. This build features plenty of different thralls from different areas, including Yamatai, Khitan, Cimmerian, Shemite, Lemurian and more. By including thralls in different types of dress in one area, it gives the impression that this build is more of an important attraction that draws people in from all over the exiled lands, whereas keeping the thralls all in one style of dress could imply this building is faction controlled. Next, for structure. Let's take a look at the start of this temple to Mitra. This is boring, let's be honest, and it's an example of a truly awfully structured building, so let's fix it. By using fences, statues, planters and raised platforms, we can structure this room without including extra walls that decrease visibility, therefore making this room seem far more important and purposeful. When you're structuring, kind of think of the pathways you want people to take. As you can see by the blueprint now, all the areas marked in green are where I want people to be able to walk, and obviously you've got the centre planter installation marked in red, which is obviously a way to divert people around either side. Next, environmental appropriation. This is a pretty simple and straightforward tip that relates to both building and decoration. Here I've lined up all of the different materials in the game, so you can see them all at once. Different materials work better in different environments, and I've collated this list to give a rough guideline of whether or not your material of choice will work in a given environment. This is far from a strict rule, of course, as you can make almost anything work anywhere, given good structure and decoration, but this is a fairly loose rule of thumb if you're unsure of what to use in a certain area. Finally, mood. Let's put a roof on this Mitra temple and suddenly it's missing something. Sure, it's visible inside the temple, but the build is missing a distinct mood and atmosphere that we can fix simply through lighting. I'll use Turanian wall braziers and hanging braziers for the main lighting, with lanterns for fill lighting above the planters just to make them pop a little bit. After placing these lights we can take another look, and you can see just how by adding some simple lighting we've improved the build by leaps and bounds, not only in visibility but in atmosphere and colours. Good lighting can help to really draw out the colours of whichever material you're using, especially when you're using something with darker tones like Turanian or the gold and brown on Aquilonian. Lighting the build well really helps to draw out those colours, and that in turn creates atmosphere. Setting a mood for a build is really easy with just lighting, and that's without accounting for lighting of different colours, spatial lighting on larger builds and such. And there we have it, 5 more building tips you can use in Conan Exiles. Thanks for watching, hopefully you've enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you have, leave a like and let me know in the comments below if you have any build suggestions for future videos. As usual, absolutely anything is welcome. Don't forget to both follow me on Twitch and join the fun on our Discord through the links in the description. YouTube is currently my full-time source of income, so if you enjoy the content and would like to help support the channel so I can continue to put out the best content possible, do consider becoming a patron. There are multiple tiers of support from $1 to $20, offering many different benefits from a mention in every video to Discord roles, and even sneak peeks of every new video before anyone else. The link to my Patreon is always in the description, so if you would like to support the channel, feel free to consider becoming a patron. On that note, a thanks to our current patrons Sammy, Sir Dialot, Randar, Motools and Dawnfox. If you're new here, feel free to check out the rest of the content on the channel. There are new Conan Exiles videos coming every Wednesday and Sunday, so if you like what you see, subscribe and ring the notification bell to be the first to see the next video, and to join us on the road to 10,000 subscribers. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.